Ladera Golf Course. Opened in 1980, Ladera features a full 18 including spacious greens, a large driving range, roomy practice putting greens, and 4 large lakes. Surrounding Ladera, beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains to the east and volcanoes to the west. Ladera is a challenging city-owned course with the longest playing yardage of any other city courses. For weekend tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
VR Junkies is a virtual reality arcade. We specialize in all things VR, from the simple phone-based headsets to cutting-edge full-body motion systems. Check us out at the Coronado Mall. VR Junkies.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Our interns here at Proview Sports Network get pretty competitive. Rivalries are real. So with the big matchup between the El Dorado Eagles and the La Cueva Bears, time to make my pick here on the ProView Rundown. I'm going to go with the El Dorado Eagles. You know what, I'm going to change my decision, and I'm going to go with the La Cueva Bears. They're feeling it. All right, hey, calm down. Guys, you do it every time. This is ridiculous. You know what? I'm going to be in makeup.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
And welcome everybody to another edition of the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Coletti. We'll be joined by Steve Davis later on here in the program. Busy day to talk a lot of sports, primarily high school football. We're going to talk a little bit about the volleyball polls as well. But first, we're going to talk New Mexico Lobos, and we're going to talk with the man who is in charge of the naming and a big event this week, and that is the CEO of Dreamstyle Homes, and that is Larry Chavez. How you doing?
Doing good, Scott. Pleasure to
be here.
Well, first of all, the pleasure is all mine. I want to tell you this. Congratulations. I know it's a big deal for you to have the naming rights of Dreamstyle Stadium and Dreamstyle Arena, the Pit. No AKA this time. And, you know, what went into that? Because I know the talk is, and everyone that knows you knows that you're a big-time football fan. You're close with Bob Davie. But the basketball, did that just kind of fall in your lap? How did that come about?
Well, it started, in fact, with the renovation we did at the football facilities, the Todim facility. Been built in 1992 and really needed a makeover on the inside. So we were in the process of doing that when the thought occurred to us that maybe we ought to talk about naming rights to the football stadium. So we began that conversation back in March, and about April it became apparent that there, or possible anyway, that the naming rights for the Pit could be available. And in fact, shortly after that, it became a reality that the naming rights for the Pit were available. We had already begun discussion about the stadium. So, make a long story short, we combined the two, put together an agreement with UNM and Learfield Sports, and wound up with a $10 million commitment over 10 years. And we started that on May 2nd with the announcement, and wrote a check to UNM for $1 million. And the stadium, the football stadium now has the signage, Dreamstyle Stadium. And in mid-October, the signage will go up at the Pit for Dreamstyle Arena, the Pit.
Now, we talked about this off the air, Larry, and the big thing about the signage at the Pit, you actually put your arms out to the fans and said, hey, you know, give some input. And you actually went by the input of the fans, which I think is astounding.
Absolutely. You know, we knew there was a very strong sentiment that had accumulated for many, many years about the nickname of the arena being the Pit. Right. And it's a nationally known facility in that way. So we hadn't given that a lot of thought when we negotiated the agreement. So the agreement, the official agreement, was Dreamstyle Stadium and Dreamstyle Arena. But as we began to move forward thinking about signage and so forth, it became pretty obvious to us that there was a strong feeling that the Pit should remain a part of the name of the facility. So we thought, well, let's just find out how important that is to the community. So we established a process where we designed 6 different combinations of name and signage and so forth, put it out to the public in the media. There was a way that they could submit their suggestions and their opinions, and we got nearly 700.
That is great.
Yeah, it was terrific. It was terrific, and the Pit was overwhelmingly suggested to be a part of the name. There wasn't a whole lot of people that said it should be just the Pit. Right. But I think there was a clear understanding that there was a naming rights situation. So we tabulated all these responses, and people voted for the signage design. It wasn't what we had in mind particularly, but you know, the overwhelming interest of the community was the signage that we came up with, and the name Dreamstyle Arena, and then a little bit of space, the Pit. So that'll be the new signage on the arena. At the corner of Martin Luther King and University, there'll be a large monument sign, and it'll have Dreamstyle Arena. It'll have the shield that has the words "the Pit" in it. And as one of the people who wrote in suggested, an academic guy, the shield is a sign of academics, and so it's nice to have the academic element to it. And so people were real happy with it, and we're looking forward to finishing that off.
Well, that is great. Larry Chavez, the CEO of Dreamstyle Remodeling, our guest here on the Sports Desk. And one of the things I have to ask you, when the press conference came out about the naming rights, there was a question about the deal with Learfield, and there was some people saying, no, don't want to give out that information. You were quick to make everything transparent. How important was that to you?
Well, I thought it was very important. You know, UNM is a public institution. We certainly believe in transparency in the way that we operate, and so there were, you know, 3 pages of details in the agreement, but none of them were anything that was surprising or needed to be hidden. So we were we were asked to provide the details, so we consulted with UNM and with Learfield. They weren't particularly crazy about it. You know, they had some proprietary considerations in how they do business. But we thought it was important, so we released it that afternoon, and it was well received, and there wasn't anything that anybody needed to be concerned about it. It was good, straightforward business.
I just had to ask you that question because that's one of the things that has really endeared you to the community, if you weren't already endeared before, is the fact that you're straight out in the open.
Right. You know, we just thought it was important to let the public know exactly what the arrangements were with the university. You know, the university is a big part of our community. It's a public institution that we all pay for, and whatever transaction it had with our company, it was important to be out in the open.
Now, how big has Dreamstyle gotten? Because obviously you have Renewal by Anderson. That's one of the big jingles that we hear in town, and you know, Dreamstyle's just popping up all over the place. So explain that.
Well, we've been in business 27 years now. We operate in 5 western states, West Texas, New Mexico, throughout Arizona, San Diego and San Diego County, and Boise and the surrounding area in Idaho. We have 520 employees throughout these areas. About 240 of them are here in New Mexico. We centralize a lot of our operations, our call center, our recruiting, our marketing, our accounting and payroll and so forth. Our customer finance are all centralized, so we maximize the number of jobs that we can have in Albuquerque and in New Mexico to support these out-of-state operations. So 5 different states, 520 employees, and we expect that to grow significantly in the coming years.
Now, when are you getting into LA?
You know,
you said you're in San Diego, so that's close enough.
We anticipate being in Central California from Santa Barbara on up within the next year.
Very good.
And then shortly after that, we'll begin some remodeling operations in the Los Angeles area.
Oh, very nice. Going back to the naming rights, what brought the overall importance to you to take on this endeavor?
Well, the primary consideration was the opportunity and ability to support the University of New Mexico.
Right.
We think that athletics is important to the university, and of course the university is important to our community. So the underlying motivation was to provide financial support to the athletic department, and we also supported some other departments which we'll mention in a minute.
Right.
But we also thought the timing was important. The university had some deficits in its operations, on a nice upswing now, and our secondary motivation was to prime the pump so that we could get others who have the capability of supporting UNM in the community to do that, and I understand that we're having some success with that.
That's great, and you know, there's no secret. You are a very, very staunch supporter of UNM.
Well, it goes back to childhood, as the story goes, and it's certainly true. Me and some neighborhood kids snuck in to University Stadium on September of 1960. We were watching through the north fence there, and when the usher looked the other way at halftime, well, we made it up to the top of the west stands there and watched the Lobos beat, I think it was the University of Mexico, 66-0. Bobby Santiago, I think, scored 4 or 5 touchdowns that night.
Nice.
So my history of being a fan of UNM goes back to that point.
Wow.
My first job ever, 2 or 3 years later, was selling sodas in the stands at the UNM football games. We used to take a big load of Cokes and go out and sell them and then go back and reload and so forth. So that was my first sales job. So it goes back to childhood, my interest in UNM. We used to listen to the football games when I was a teenager and keep the statistics and compare and see who got closest at the end, and went on to go to UNM and have been a fan and a supporter all these years.
That is so cool. How just gratifying is it for you to have your business as the name of the stadium and arena?
It's pretty special. You know,
there's got to be a lot of personal specialness to you as well.
It really is. You know, like I say, going back to having my first job there and so forth, when I first saw it on TV, first saw it in print, it was goosebumps, actually. It was pretty special. I saw it lit up Saturday night at the stadium for the first time, and that was very special. It's very special to our employees. They're very proud. All the people I know are pleased, and so it's great to have our name on the facilities, but it's also great to be supporting the athletic department and the other departments within the university.
Speaking of the other departments, the Dreamstyle Cherry and Silver Benefit Home Show happening at Dreamstyle Arena, the Pit, this weekend, and it benefits the UNM Children's Hospital, Pope Joy Hall, and the Anderson School of Business. All great organizations.
Right, Scott. Part of our intent in the naming rights was not only to support the athletic department, but over the 10-year period we've dedicated $1 million to support the UNM Children's Hospital, the Pope Joy Hall, and the Anderson School of Management. And we think those are all important to the university and again to the community. Pope Joy Hall has done a terrific job of building cultural performances there that are very important to a significant segment of our community. And likewise, the Anderson School is very important in producing good business people for our community, and the Children's Hospital does a terrific job for children in need. So those three we selected, and we're going to fund that donation through the proceeds from the home shows that we'll have twice a year, once in early September and once in mid-April. And the entire net proceeds from those events will go to fund these three organizations.
Now explain to the folks who want to come out when it is, what time it is, and what they need to do to come on out.
Great, Scott. Friday, it opens at 12. It runs till 5 o'clock. Saturday is 10 till 4. We're going to close up a little bit early so people can walk across the street and go to the football game. And Sunday it'll be from 10 to 5 o'clock. There'll be about 100 exhibits of home improvement products like windows and doors, flooring, stoves, fireplaces, kitchen, bath, solar, a number of different ways to improve your home. There'll also be some tours of the pit, and there'll be the celebrity free throw contest on Sunday afternoon. And then Dr. Barry Ramo and his team will be offering free CPR training during the middays of the show, and that's a very important thing for people to learn. So there's not only home improvements, but a lot of entertaining activities during the weekend.
Yeah, got to brush up on the free throws too.
Right, right.
So, can't remember the last time I shot a free throw, but used to be good in high school and college. But
well, take a few practice throws and you'll be ready to go.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be fun.
How important is it to you as a fan? I was there during the lean years that the Lobos have been winning. They had a 7-win season 2 years ago, 9 last year, off to a 1-0 start this year.
Well, I think Coach Davey has his priorities in terms of what's important. He's got it right. The academics of the student athletes is very important, and Coach has done a fantastic job of building that. The character and the effort that they put in, they play very hard. They do their best, and in the end, I think we're going to see them win lots of football games.
Yeah. So as a fan, that's got to be very exciting. I know a lot of people are pumped up.
Absolutely. It was great fun to watch last Saturday night's game, particularly that 91-yard interception return. There was a lot of heart with Jake Rothschilder, a walk-on.
Right.
You don't just step onto the field and become a star. He's obviously worked very hard. He's got some talent and got a great attitude, and it showed up in that interception return and also the sack that he did at a very timely time that led to a fumble and a game change. So that's the kind of heart that Bob Davey looks for in his players, and I think that's a key reason for their success and their future success.
And he's been consistent with that since day one.
Absolutely. He's done a great job.
In terms of basketball, what are your thoughts of Coach Weir?
I've had the opportunity to spend some time with Coach Weir. I think he's going to be great. He's got a lot of fire in his belly. He's a really sharp guy. He's got 3 master's degrees, I think, working on a PhD. Seems to me that he relates to his players really well.
Right.
In a very short time, he's filled the roster very nicely. I think we're going to have a great year this year, and in the future, I think things look real good for Lobo basketball.
In closing, Larry, what would you like to tell the folks?
Well, I'd just like to tell them to support the Lobos, come out to the home show and support the Children's Hospital, Pope Joy, and Anderson School. It'll be a great time. Tickets are $5. Children under 12 are free. it'll be a lot of fun.
Well, Larry, I want to thank you so much. Keep up the great work and congratulations.
Thanks, Scott. Pleasure to be
Larry
here.
Chavez, the CEO of Dreamstyle Remodeling, our guest. Steve Davis will join us after the break, but first, the top 10 plays of the week on the Sports Desk.
He's got some wheels. Look at Wysong go. He turns around and looks, and he's in for the touchdown. Doesn't look like there's any laundry littering the field.
Teams looking gray and Highland in a color rush, do we say, in all yellow. Here's a throw out to the end zone, and that's caught. Touchdown, Volcano Vista North. That's a beautiful catch out there.
There you have it. Nice pass. Long throw, and it's going to be out of bounds.
So this is big time stuff. DeAndre Williams had the reception. Look at this, a screen gone in the right time. Just a lot of room across the 40-yard line to the 30. It's a foot race to the end zone all the way. Touchdown.
For the state champs, they're going to be victorious here on opening night. Russell still on his feet. A late touchdown for Savion. It's his third of the day.
Wow, that was great.
I'm with you. So, Blazer, he's got plenty of time. Blazer rolling, now firing.
Nice.
That's complete. And there's some more. A block in the 10, to the 5, leaping to the end zone. Touchdown.
Pickens, he's a busy guy. End over end, kick short. Roy Ball fields at about the 25-yard line. A little bit of a hole. That's Monroe Young might go to the house here. One man to beat.
Yeah, you're not going to catch him. You're not going to catch him.
Monroe Young will return the kickoff. Looks back. I don't know why he's doing it. Look at that separation. One and oh, he brought it in.
First and 10 at midfield. Swing pass on the near side. Bolden gets to the outside. Look out, Brandon Bolden. One man to beat. And is he still on his feet? Yes, he is in bounds. And that is a touchdown for West Mason.
And he's going to, that's a midline option again. And a nice play there by Hayden. And he's got he can go all the way. Is he going to get there? Touchdown, San.
It's the Cherry and Silver Home Show at Dreamstyle Arena, The Pit, September 8th through the 10th. Everything you need for your home, including windows, landscaping, solar, stucco, flooring, and many more. Plus, take a private tour of The Pit and watch a celebrity free throw contest. Tickets are $5, kids are free. Proceeds benefit UNM Children's Hospital, Pope Joy Hall, and Anderson School of Management. Don't miss the Cherry and Silver Home Show at Dreamstyle Arena, The Pit, September 8th through the 10th. Tickets available now at unmtickets.com.
The Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
Looking for some exhilarating fun? It's at All Out Zone. All Out Zone showcases Nerf dart tag games from team elimination battles to human versus zombies, pitting two teams against each other in fun, organized chaos with trained referees, music, and a full arsenal of Nerf blasters. You need team parties, birthday parties. We can customize the party to fit your needs. Visit us at the Coronado Mall. Give us a call, 505-444-6964. All Out Zone.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
What do these interns even do on their break, man?
I don't even know. It's probably way too crazy.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
Hey everyone, Adam Deal here.
Dave & Buster's is your destination for fun. Eat delicious chef-crafted food. Try sizzling favorites and new creations from our talented chefs. Drink the coolest cocktail creations. Play the hottest new games to win awesome prizes. And watch all the games in the best sports bar ever. Only at Dave & Buster's.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
Our interns here at Proview Sports Network get pretty competitive. Rivalries are real.
You two, jeez.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
Friday.
And welcome back here to the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galletti, joined by Steve Davis. Want to thank Larry Chavez from Dream Style Remodeling, the CEO, for being our guest. And what a big weekend. The Dream Style Cherry and Silver Benefit Home Show out at Dream Style Arena, the Pit. That'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Steve Davis.
Well, you know what? It's a first for him, and guess what? It's a first for Proview. It's the first home show we're ever doing. So, and you and I get to start off. So,
right.
It's a first. It's a big time deal. So,
no, that's going to be fun. And the thing is, Larry takes so much pride in having the naming rights and everything. It's like almost like a childhood ambition for him and a childhood dream, because he's such a big-time Lobo fan that he's able to give back. And as he mentioned, not only to the sporting and the athletics, but also to the community.
Well, you know, I'm going to go off a tangent here, and you'll appreciate this, but, you know, Larry and Dorothy Ranasak, how they just go do it, and it's like he's right there with them.
Right.
And when you talk to him, it's just like talking to, you know, it's like me and you just talking. You don't have to be anything special, big, or he no matter who you are, he will talk to you. So, and this, I guess the word I'm trying to say is he's very humble and he's very gracious about, and he's very happy about what he's being able to do to be able to give back. So how many people would even think about doing what they do for the community?
And you bring up the Reinachaks, and I've known them for years, ever since I came to the city of Albuquerque and the University of New Mexico. But they're the same mold, where they just give to the community that they live in, and they are big time supporters of whatever they put their hands on. And Larry, the same way.
Well, like I said, and without them, Proview Networks wouldn't be here. I just, they see the value of what we have for the community, and they support us, and it's nice to have people like them in the community.
And in terms of the Reinachaks, it's nice to have Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs and the Frontier Restaurant. Been to both establishments many a time.
I tell you, and I have a few of those pounds right here. So maybe too many times. I got in the house too many times. So.
Yeah, you and me both. Let's talk about the busy week in football, Steve. Week number 2 already gone, and I was
going to just comment on that. It's
you and I always joke about this when the season begins. It's like we talk about, man, it's been a long time since football. All of a sudden it's here, and hey, guess what? We're going to be doing the seating and selection show, and that's not as far away as we thought now, as we're already into week number 3.
Well, what's neat to see right now is it's diversity across the state. Okay, APS has a contender, maybe 2 contenders, or maybe 4. I mean, if you really, we don't know. We'll find out a lot about this week. Rio Rancho, they have 2. They have Rio Rancho in Cleveland, and I think Las Cruces, and don't forget about Centennial, even though they lost to Manzano last week. I think that's so neat to see that there's a north and south in football, that any one of those teams could win.
Now, Manzano, you mentioned, that's a team that a lot of people were picking as maybe a candidate to win the Blue Trophy. But how about La Cueva? That game last week when they played Cleveland, they almost shut out Cleveland, something that has never been done to this point and still hasn't, as Cleveland scored a late touchdown. But La Cueva's defense is, we'll look at the schedule last week, and you got that 30-8 win. West Mesa 27-14. Del Valle over Mayfield 7-0 the final score, and then down below a big win over Oñate for Atrisco Heritage. But we'll keep the score up on the board right now. How about that La Cueva defense?
Well, they're talking about, also La Cueva's put some points on the scoreboard.
Yeah, their offense too, yeah.
So you have, they're complementing each other.
Right.
But it's also nice if your offense is struggling, that that you're counting your defense, that they're not going to give up points.
And I bring up the defense because their defense, ever since I started doing high school, has been really good. But these guys are physical and hard hitters. Ryan McClain, among others, Lloyd Alt. I mean, these guys pack a big-time punch when they hit you.
Right. And, but here's something I want to talk about. I mean, West Mesa beating Pius. Pius having that great win over Highland the week before. And Ron and Math 2-0, and they're going to play Volcano Vista. That's a game that's going to be a game to watch this weekend too.
Yeah, it really is, and they're a very physical team.
When you would not say that. Usually, anybody in that district, you're saying,
right.
Oh, your check mark, probably possibility 100% win.
Right.
But now it's. And I've talked about it on all the shows. You better be ready for these teams in that district.
Yeah, no, West Mesa offensively, they're moving the ball, but another team that has a lot of physicality on defense. We'll look at the other scores from last Friday in week number 2 and in other action last week. We will see the scores coming up here. There we go. El Dorado, a big win over the team that you just mentioned, Volcano Vista. Sandia, victory. Belen, Los Lunas. Rio Rancho going down to El Paso Americas and winning 42-10 on a game that they found out the starting time was 4 o'clock 2 days before, so they had to make arrangements. But Coach
they had
House,
an attitude when they went down there.
They had a big-time attitude, yeah. Coach House kind of played it off, saying he was the only one that was put off. But, kudos to Rio Rancho show going down there, not only winning, but winning big.
Well, you know what? After winning, you get to go home. You get home by 10 o'clock. You're much happier than having to come home and get home at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No, that's
so they had practice
right.
and then the players were upset because they had practice on Saturdays.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, too. And how about Hobbs? That was a shootout, Hobbs and Artesia.
Well, I tell you, you know, Artesia, anytime you go to Artesia and you win a game, you know, that it doesn't happen a lot of too many teams. And Hobbs is a team that, you know, is just under the radar that we may be talking a lot about at the end of the season.
Yeah, and Artesia needed 2 late scores to make it 49, but a big win for Hobbs on the road at the Bulldog Bowl. And then games on Saturday, one game that you and I did, and that was a pretty interesting one. It was Las Cruces over Cibola, 56-19. A little bit closer than the score indicates, although Las Cruces' offense was in cruise control.
Well, you know, I think, you know, there's 2 things that Las Cruces, great game, great athletes, great play calling, but, you know, they turned the ball over, and they also had a lot of penalties. And,
right.
For them, you know, to compete for that blue trophy, they need to get those things worked out.
Game you and I didn't get to see, but it was a good one. Manzano, we were talking about it during our game. Manzano, a big victory over Centennial.
Well, big win for a big mental win for Chad Adcox to be to beat a Compo guy that he coached with. So I think there's more.
And a team that was a thorn in their side a year ago.
Right, and then you know, if you go back 1 year ago, almost the same date that, you know, Manzano comes out and they're killing Centennial in the first half, and in the second half, a Compo makes them a difference, throws out the game plan, so it tells his players he just forget everything I said the whole week. That was what he said in the locker room. Forget everything I said in the whole week, and here's what we got to do if you guys want to win. And he put it on the back of the kids and say, all right, look, guys, you know, you can come out here a loss because I didn't do a good job of playing, which that takes a lot of guts when a coach comes in and says that. So, but he says, hey, I believe in you, and let's we got 5 minutes to put a game plan for the second half, and let's go execute.
And how about the players for Centennial for doing that? And how about the players from Manzano remembering that? Obviously, they won the playoff game, but that was a huge win for them on Saturday because I think mentally they knew that this could be a huge hiccup if they lost, and they didn't.
Well, again, that just gives them more confidence in their leadership and their players, you know, and like I said, right now, everybody's talking about La Cueva, and Manzano's the team that's got all the returning players.
Right. Absolutely. Speaking of La Cueva, let's look at the game recap for them against Cleveland, and what a game it was, as they would win this game pretty handily, 30-7. Those 7 points were as a result of a turnover deep inside La Cueva territory, and La Cueva ended up giving up that touchdown. But Cleveland's offense completely shut down by the La Cueva defense. And look at the offensive numbers for Dylan Summer, as Dylan Summer had an outstanding game last week with 2 touchdowns, a touchdown run as well, 261 yards. Reese Wilkinson, a touchdown catch. DeAndre Williams, a touchdown catch. And La Cueva, they had 256 yards of total offense by the half, holding Cleveland to -7. When I saw those numbers, that's astounding.
Well,
because usually it's Cleveland putting up those 256.
Well, and Reinhardt, as much great respect, I tell you what, he did not sleep this last weekend.
Right.
And he was excited about his team coming into the year, and you see that happen. And here's some highlights of it if you want to take over the play-by-play with it. So.
Yeah, it was big for La Cueva, and it was quick. As basically James Otis's article said, this game was over by halftime, and you know, it was a sloppy half for La Cueva in the second half. They only scored, I believe, 1 score, and look at this little bit of a Statue of Liberty play, and that went for big yards. And you know, La Cueva, if they pull out trick plays like that, they're tough to beat. But if they go smash mouth, they're as tough to beat as anybody.
Well, they have balance, and I think that's the word that you're looking at. They have defense is unbelievable, but to shut down Cleveland consistently for a whole game hasn't happened in 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and you see plays like this just breaking it open and going downfield for big yardage, and it was quite an effort by LaCueva, and it seemed like LaCueva in that first half could do absolutely nothing wrong.
Well, they were prepared, and then that was something that over the last, we've seen in Coach Beck's team over the deal. They were a team of two halves. They could never. Last year they could never put 4 quarters together, and this is coming out. That's probably what they worked on all summer, is playing for 4 quarters.
Yeah, they get the big plays, and then look at the hitting. I mean, that's what I mean about the physicality, is Ryan McClain throwing on a big hit, and, that's how he hits each and every time there's a defensive play, and it was like a demolition derby out there.
I tell you, I don't know that I think I just let the ball go through myself.
Yeah, it might not be a bad idea, but
Coach, you can yell at me, but I want to play the rest of the season, so.
Yeah, but this defense is just so prepared, and then again, LaCueva with the big offensive showing, and there were a couple of big plays for Cleveland, but not very many.
Well, you saw a big play right there by Cleveland, but you're just seeing big hits, and it's kind of like basketball. How the defense picks up when when you hit a 3, the defense picks up. And in this game here, it's the offense picked up because the defense was making big plays.
I mean, when you're on offense and you see huge hits like that, and Cleveland came up with a couple of hits as well, but when you see hits like that, it's got to inspire you to go out and play even harder. And the defense just kept coming up with big play after big play, and an interception in the end zone, and that pretty much took the sails out of Cleveland.
Well, I agree and disagree with Yotis a little bit on a game's not over, and it's always easy on the hindsight to say when a game's over. But right then, if they would have scored in that fourth quarter, they could have changed the complexity of this ball game.
Right. No, that's true. And then it was 30-0, and then Cleveland would come up with a late score, and there was nothing feel good about Coach Ridenauer. You know that they were very unhappy with the way the game came down, and they'll be looking at this down the road, trying to make adjustments.
Well, no, they're doing it today. So I know Ridenauer very well. That he's they found his weaknesses. Now he can go out and coach them, because he's not happy with the way they played at all.
We're going to take a break right now, and we're going to go over the coaches' polls and look at some of the standings here in 6A, and we'll do that next on the Sports Desk.
Gecko's Bar in Tapas, a proud supporter of Proview Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but 2 great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's off Academy and in Nob Hill.
Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
Garden Shorts Team Sales is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Get into the game. Garden Schwartz Team Sales features fine products and apparel from Wilson, Schutt Sports, Speedline, and Russell Athletics. We offer custom embroidery and screen printing services for all of your school or club needs, from team uniforms to school leather jackets. Specializing in all sports and serving all communities, from big schools to small schools, from up north to down south, or all points in between. Garden Schwartz Team Sales. For great prices, friendly staff, and quality products, call Garden Schwartz Team Sales today at 1-800-880-7767. That's 1-800-880-7767. Since 1939, Garden Schwartz Team Sales is a proud supporter of New Mexico youth athletics.
We try to let all of our interns do everything here at Proview Sports Network. Sometimes it just doesn't pan out. Hey everybody, welcome to the Proview Rundown. I'm Adam Deal. What a big week in football, week 3. As you all know,
cut.
Come on, this Eagle, jeez.
Football's back right here on Proview Sports Network. All the best rivalries, all the best action, every game on Proview Sports Network, Comcast 26, and the game of the week on My 50 TV.
The Steve Davis Show is proudly presented by Dave & Buster's.
Ladera Golf Course. Opened in 1980, Ladera features a full 18 including spacious greens, a large driving range, roomy practice putting greens, and 4 large lakes. Surrounding Ladera, beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains to the east and volcanoes to the west. Ladera is a challenging city-owned course with the longest playing yardage of any other city courses. For weekend tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449.
And welcome back here to the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galletti along with Steve Davis. Alden Ioane, our fine director, getting us through the show. Once again, want to thank Larry Chavez, the CEO of Dream Style Remodeling, for joining us here in the first segment. And time now to look at some of the polls, as we will look at the coaches' polls. And the coaches' polls come out once a week. We'll look at 3A first. Capitan, Eunice, Estancia, Santa Rosa, and Raton.
Well, Capitan's a team that in Eunice, it's almost like every year we look up there. They're up there, and then Santa Rosa's coming back, making a little comeback this year.
Yeah, Santa Rosa, one of those teams that is very, very well renowned in that division, so you know that they are going to be a threat down the road. Let's go to 4A now in the poll, and you got Portales, followed by Robertson, Moriarty, St. Mike's, and Ruidoso.
Well, Portales is at their year this year, and Robertson, seems like Robertson is always there too when I'm looking at these deals, but Portales is at the team to beat this year.
Let's go to 5A now, and in 5A, you got Artesia even after the loss. They are 1-1, Belen 2-0, Los Lunas 2-0, Roswell is 1-0. They played their first game last Friday, and Farmington 1-1. How about Los Lunas 2-0?
Well, how about Belen and Los Lunas?
Yeah.
Okay,
well, we knew that Belen was going to be pretty good, but Los Lunas is rebuilding, and they're still off to a very, very good start.
You know, and what we're seeing is, you know, after St. Pius beat Artesia last year, that Artesia just can't show up and win the blue trophy.
Right.
Okay? I mean, there's the coaching and the powers are switching a little bit, and it's going to be curious to see what happens over the next 10 weeks in this class.
Very, very good point. Let's go now to the 6A poll, and no discrepancy there. Rio Rancho 2-0, Las Cruces right on their tail at 2-0, La Cueva 2-0, Manzano and Clovis all 2-0. The big question mark about Las Cruces, penalties and maybe their defense, but their offense has just been unstoppable.
Well, you know, watching Las Cruces, and you know, the game that you and I did, my whole point is, even no matter who this team plays, they have the power and they have the big play, or they can grind it out. Either if you have a great defense, they can beat you both ways.
Right.
Okay. But they still scored. You know, they scored 55 points, and they could have easily scored 70.
Well, you know, one of the parts of that game that really stood out to me when you made the comment early in the game that Cibola wasn't getting any pressure whatsoever on their quarterback Peyton Ball. Very, very noticeable, and I don't think that's just a Cibola thing. Their line, even though it was a big question mark, is for real.
Well, and we even, you know, accolades to their line. Okay, I mean, you know, they don't get those yardage and get those impressive stats that you've been putting up without somebody getting it done on the front line.
Yeah, but you pointed that out on like the third play that he went back to pass and there was nobody anywhere near him, and it was pretty much that way the entire game. Let's look now at 6A standings. We will go to District 1 first, and you see Rio Rancho and Piedra Vista. They're the two unbeaten teams. Cleveland, Volcano Vista with 1 win each.
Well, it's going to be an interesting district there. Rio Rancho and Cleveland, I think that's going to be the two that are going to come out of this district. Volcano Vista is a team that could be on the bubble. You know, is a team that shows signs of greatness and then also shows that they can be beat. Yeah, you're right about that. Let's go now to District 2. And in District 2, you've got a log jam at the top. You got Manzano, Clovis, La Cueva, and Sandia all undefeated. And help me out on this. Those are 5 teams that are in the top 10? Yeah. I think that answers where I'm going with this. So pretty much. Yeah, this district is for real this year, and there's a lot of promise out of this district. Let's go to another tough district. That's District 3, and in District 3, you've got Las Cruces at the top. A lot of in between after that. Centennial and Hobbs each with a win, but there's a lot of very good teams. Well, let's just remember what I'm saying right now, okay, and just take it to the bank, all right, okay. You know, kind of go back to the Roanhouse years when they're 0-2 and everybody's saying, you know, what's wrong with Mayfield? Well, Mayfield was there last year, and look how they came on at the end of the season. I'm sure, I don't know all the issues down there, but you know, earlier in the year, a bunch of people were hurt, and they got them healthy, and all of a sudden they were a team that were contending. No, that's a very good point. So I'm just saying, because everybody's like, what's going on with Mayfield? Well, same thing that happened to Clovis, but they still seem to win their district. Yeah. No, that's a huge point. We'll keep an eye on Mayfield the rest of the year, and they're a young bunch, but they've got a lot of talent and very good-looking team from what I saw a couple of weeks ago against Rio Rancho. So they're going to be a player down the stretch. And then we're going to see Oñate this Saturday. They're coming back. So, you know, that's Sandia, and then Sandia is impressive 2-0, and can they keep it? A team we didn't talk about, I want to bring it up, Valley, another one of those teams in that district. Well, let's look at District 4 here while you're talking about Valley. There you go. They're 0-2, but I'm telling you, this team is better than its 0-2 record, and it really is. And this is going to be such a great district. It's already a great district to me anyway, but it's just going to be a great district to see who wins this district. Well, Judge Chavez has that Valley team just playing so hard. We saw them a couple of weeks ago against Volcano Vista. Steve, you and I were sitting watching the game, and you know, this Valley team is not going to be a pushover. They're not, and I think that's what this whole district, maybe with the exception maybe of Highland and Rio Grande, is that I just wouldn't want those 4 teams on my schedule, no matter who I was. Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and give you this week's schedule. Go over volleyball polls on the Sports Desk.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog! Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
VR Junkies is a virtual reality arcade. We specialize in all things VR, from the simple phone-based headsets to cutting-edge full-body motion systems. Check us out at the Coronado Mall. VR Junkies.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all, or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, # life change will occur.
And we are back here on the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Coletti along with Steve Davis. Alden Ioane, our director. Our thanks to Larry Chavez, CEO of Dreamstyle Remodeling, for being our guest in the first segment. And time now to go over the schedule. Busy week in week number 3, and it starts Thursday, West Mesa, Volcano Vista. Then you got a couple of good ones on Friday. Manzano, Cibola, Los Lunas, Del Norte at Milne, and Mayfield, El Dorado. Ordinarily, that's a very good game. El Dorado showed signs of really waking up last week, and we'll see what Mayfield brings to the table against them.
Well, you know, everybody's counting Charlie Dodson out of El Dorado, and this is two teams that really need wins, Mayfield and El Dorado in that game, and then Manzano, Bird's hurt, but I think they have some power that just another athletes can step up and.
Yeah, well, Ivy Sod's back, and then they got their other running back. And how about the La Cueva Centennial game at the Field of Dreams?
Well, you know, let's see how La Cueva responds on the deal. Getting a lot of accolades from Proview Networks, from the Journal with Yotis, and I'm just telling you that. It still intrigues me. This Thursday night game, this West Mesa and Balcano game, was going to be pretty.
It's going to be a really good game.
When you put that on the schedule at the beginning of the year, you would think that Balcano. I mean, I'm just saying, if I'm looking at this game, Balcano Vista, I put Balcano Vista win. Now I'm putting a question mark.
Right.
This could go, and we can see if Ron, seeing how they've improved and see how much their confidence going into this game. Let's see if they can hold on and win this ball game.
Let's go now to other games on Friday coming up this week. In week number 3, big one, Clovis Rio Rancho. We'll get more in depth in a moment about that one. Valencia Artesia, Belen Farmington, St. Mike's Moriarty, Academy Bernalillo.
Well, I think, you know, I'm looking at this, and, you know, the game, you know, the game I'm really concerned about, and we got a lot of deals. Clovis at Rio Rancho. I mean, this is the team is Clovis for real, and
yeah, don't get too much into it. We'll talk about that game here in a second.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. then you didn't speak up. Then. Okay, just take my thunder away there.
Well, I'm not taking your thunder away. I'm just putting it off for a second. We'll go to Saturday's games, and Saturday's action will be St. Pius against Hope. That will be at Newsenda Community Stadium. Cleveland Las Cruces at the Field of Dreams. That'll be a very good one. And the game you and I are doing on Yate Sandia at Wilson. Alamogordo is playing Valley at Milne. So a lot of action this week.
A lot of good games, and it's just week 3, and I think, you know, Yotis hit on that. I'd like to see the margin of victories get a little closer and get a little bit more exciting down at the end, and I think as these weeks goes, we're going to see more and more closer games.
Now the game that you were talking about, Steve, now you can get in depth.
I forgot about what
Rio Rancho and Clovis. Oh, you'll remember now. Your boys from Clovis coming up to Rio Rancho. And I'll tell you, Cal Fullerton has a young group. He says that they are senior laden, but a lot of guys who don't really have a lot of on-field experience, and all they're doing is 2-0.
Well, when you have a Davis as the quarterback, I mean, what more can you expect?
There you go, 214 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks on the year, and Seth Lopez, durable back, 132 yards, and then obviously you got Logan Barrera, Austin Heist, Derek Reyes. I mean, they've been doing a great job.
Well, Rio Rancho, they went on the road, impressive, beating El Paso, on the road decisively with a 4 o'clock start.
Those stats, by the way, were from that game against Americas.
This, the question is big test for Coach Fulton to be on the road against, you know, Rio Rancho has owned Clovis for the last 3 years.
Right.
They beat them up and embarrassed them, or the Rio Rancho community in Cleveland, included in that bunch, is embarrassed by Clovis Wildcats. So
I can tell you your Clovis Wildcats, just by looking at the roster, they are big. So we'll see what they bring to the table. Quickly, let's go over the volleyball polls in 4A. The coaches poll, Sandia Prep, Robertson, St. Mike's, Portales, Moriarty. We'll go to 6A, actually that was 4A, but it said 5A at the top. St. Pius, Roswell, Los Lunas, Santa Teresa, and Goddard. That is your 5A poll. And then you've got 6A, Centennial, defending state champs, La Cueva, Sandia, Las Cruces, and Cleveland.
Well, we have volleyball again this week on Tuesday night, so something that we saw La Cueva dominate Sandia Prep last week, and curious to see what happens this week.
As we're winding down the show here, Steve, big week, lots of games. You mentioned volleyball and obviously the Dream Style Home Show over the weekend.
Well, that's, we're just don't forget about the soccer. Soccer's still out there playing immense, and we're going to get to them. Just give us a little time to, we've only done 30 games in 2 weeks, so
yeah, they just had the Metro tournament. That's always exciting, and there's a lot of teams vying for that blue trophy.
Don't forget about Metro State basketball on Saturday night.
Nice.
6 o'clock.
Very nice. So that's a lot of good things going on.
Almost too many.
Well, want to thank you, Steve. In closing, what do you got?
Well, I'll tell you, it's it's the old saying was why are you here now? Why aren't you here?
Why aren't you here? Yep.
Well, and the reason we're not is because we still, as good as the city's been, we need more equipment and we need more funding to get more games up. So. Yeah, and it's always an uphill battle, but that's one of the things that we take pride in here at Proview Networks. Guy that takes a lot of pride, Alden Iowani. Want to thank him for doing a great job as our director. Josh Brown also helping out. And Steve, we'll do this again next week. Actually, we'll do this again on Friday. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be very exciting.
It'll be very fun.
It's going to be exciting to be in the pit again.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be
Hold
there
on,
at the
I
pit.
messed up. Hold on. It's
Dream Style Arena, the pit.
There you go.
Yes, sir. So we will be there, and tune us in. Until next week, I'm Scott Galletti. We'll see you next week on the Sports Desk.